everybody. I'm over here running my mouth because I have someone that I get a chance to geek out with today, and I cannot wait to introduce you to him, Chris L. Davis of Automation Bridge. By the way, for those of you who don't know me and don't know the show, I'm Tanya Smith, and this is Stream Like a Boss TV. Now, you can find me every week, typically on Thursdays, but we've also added a Tuesday show, and we're talking about live streaming, and we're talking about all things video marketing. Basically, what we want to do is to help service providers be able to leverage more video so you can serve people, stand out online, and sell more of your services. So I am super excited and thrilled that I get a chance to be here with you each and every week, whether we're sharing tips, trends, talking tech, whatever it is we're talking about. I always have a blast hanging out with you. And actually, I really love my opportunities to sit with guests and to learn more about them. So we're going to be spotlighting my dear friend, someone who I've known for a very long time, and we just got reconnected recently. That is Chris L. Davis. So I'm going to share with you his quick bio, but then on the other side of the video you're going to see next, you will find out more about him, from his own mouth. How about that? Let me do this because I see my folks popping into the comments and they're getting me right. They're like, wait a minute, what happened to the newbie versus OG? Look, if this is your first time watching, type in #newbie. If you're family and you've been here before, you've been watching us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever, type in #OG. It is wonderful to see you here. I see John Lacey in the house. What's up, OG? Yes. And Gabe, thank you. I got the rap, Gabe. I got the rap because I'm trying to be cool like you. And Gabe said, this is one of my favorite creators. I think he's talking about you, Chris. So I got to hurry up and bring you on. Virginia Jen, good to see you. Good to see you. Awesome. Michelle is in the house. OG from LinkedIn. Yes, I love it. All right, y'all. So on the other side of this video, you're going to get a chance to meet my good friend Chris, and we're going to be geeking out on some things. I told him I have a list of questions, but we might deviate a little bit. So help me deviate and ask him questions too in the chat, and let's just have some fun. All right? I'll see you on the other side of the video. All right. I am super excited and thrilled that Chris L. Davis is in the house with us. It is really, really, really my pleasure, sir. It's been a minute.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about what's not in the bio. What is not in the bio? I'm going to read the bio because I didn't read it beforehand. So I'm going to read it now. How about that?
All right.
And then I get you to fill in any blanks that you think the people need to know. So Chris L. Davis is one of the most highly sought after marketing automation consultants and advisors in the industry. When I say that, that's not a brag, but it is. Because he really is. He has held leadership positions with numerous startups, including Leadpages and ActiveCampaign. These are well-known companies, which has enabled them to raise a collective of over $157 million in capital to date. As the founder of Automation Bridge, Chris focuses his efforts on training digital marketing professionals on how to deploy automated marketing and sales systems inside of small businesses to experience enterprise-level revenue at scale. Really super excited to have you here. Look, Samantha's saying hi. Gabe is saying hi. Dan has said, why is Tay Diggs on your show? I love
You
it.
know, Dan, I received Tay Diggs' bank account at any moment, anytime.
Okay. Okay. Chris is one awesome person, says Gabe. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look, when I put it out there that you were going to be coming on, I had several people that commented and said, "Yeah, I've heard Chris before. I know he's a really smart guy. Everybody says smart,
Mhm,
intelligent.
mhm.
Um, I say smart, intelligent, and all of those things, but just a down to earth person. What do people need to know about you that I didn't read?"
Listen, first off, Tanya, thank you for having me. I feel like family. I feel like I'm amongst family already, and it's good to be known for the right things.
Yes.
In a day and age where there's so much information easily and sloppily being thrown around for people to associate positivity with my name is I'm truly grateful. The one thing missing from my bio, which is probably the most important, is that I am a father of three and a husband of 16, be 17 years this year, and I've known my wife for half of my life.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so you've known your wife for half of your life. How did that happen? Like, where did you meet?
We met in college, and everybody that knows me, if there's anybody listening that was went to college with me, I matured very quickly. So my freshman year, I was pretty much done with clubbing. Sophomore year, the entrepreneurial bug got me, and I started cutting hair and modifying Xboxes for side money. And by my junior year, I was like, okay, I'm ready for a wife. All right. I'm ready to do this thing. So I met her the summer, right before the summer of my junior year, and we've been together ever since.
That is wonderful. And I can tell you do have, there's some people that have old souls, right?
Hmm.
That's what we call
Hmm.
them, old souls. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we gelled so well, Chris. I don't remember when we met.
It
I
was at
just
Lead
know that it was
Pages.
a long time ago. I just know
Yes.
that we hit it off because we both were systems people. We both were in fact, I might have been doing my systems liberation classes at the time.
Mm. Could
Yeah.
be.
I don't know, but it's been a long time.
Yes.
So
Yes.
catch me up. What is how did you get to Automation Bridge and why is that a thing for you?
Yes. So everybody, I'm looking at the clock. I'm going to give myself no more than 3 minutes to tell this story. And then you can double click and zoom in on any part that we need to. So it actually all started out, I had a passion for art, and I thought I would go to college for fine arts and graphic arts and become a cartoonist and all of this. My dad was like, "Hey, you're good in math and you need a profession to make a living." And he was right, by the way. So I went to K State University for engineering. That I won't go through that process, but let me just share this from an inner city, Minneapolis inner city schools to Kansas State University, the education gap was huge. Okay, ginormous. There were things that people knew coming into college that I had no clue existed. One being a computer. I didn't know how to use a computer going into
What?
college. Okay, I got to share this funny story. So, I learned about email because I had to go to the lab and we had to use Linux at the time to sign in and check our email. And because I didn't know how email worked, I thought my email was tied to the computer just like a mailbox. Like everybody puts mail in a physical mailbox. So I went to the computer lab and it was like nobody in the lab except one person, and this one person was on the computer. There's 15 other computers. I'm waiting for them to get
For
off
the
the
one computer?
because I'm
Uh-uh.
like, my email's in there. I need to check my email in there. And they looked at me like, what's wrong with this dude? They probably thought I was high or something like that. So that's just a funny story to show you how far I've come. After college, I got a degree in electrical engineering, specializing in digital electronics. And that was the first sign of me getting into the space of automation. I've always been a problem solver and a tinkerer, but I used to program microprocessors for our nation's defense technology. I worked at Lockheed Martin, and they were called autopilots. This is before I knew what automation was,
Oh,
Tanya. I was programming these chips called autopilots, and they were responsible for navigating these missiles to go blow stuff up in real life, like not a video game, like real life stuff was getting blown up.
what?
So real technical stuff. Everybody, I can read binary code. I know hex values, all of that stuff. So
Hold up.
super
Wait.
nerdy,
Wait. You went from, I think my email is in that one computer to,
right?
this seems like a big jump. I'm just
Hugely.
saying. I'm
And
just
people
saying.
don't believe it. When people meet me and they learn and they're like, "You're so intelligent. You must have been born typing." I was like, "Actually, I didn't know how to even get on the internet." I thought you bought the internet because every time I would go to the grocery store, they had the AOL discs, right? So I wasn't aware of how all of this stuff worked, but I learned quick. Let me tell you that. I think I just had a natural inclination to technology. And if you exposed me to the right stuff, it caught on like fire. And by the time I graduated, nobody would have known that I didn't know how to check email my freshman year. You know,
That's crazy.
so you go to Lockheed Martin, and I love the technical nature and applications there, but I absolutely hated the environment. And that's what when I learned about myself. College taught me that I can solve a problem if I put enough hours into it.
Hmm.
Lockheed Martin showed me that I need to be around people. I as introverted as I am, I do thrive with being personable with people
Yeah.
and getting to know people. And everything was so transactional as an engineer. Hey, do you have this code? Hey, do you do? It drove me crazy. So by the time I left, well, involuntarily, I'll say, um, my wife had been laid off a couple years before me, and I was in this mode of forget this job. How dare you lay my wife off? She's an engineer too, by the way, Tanya. And I'm like, what's going on with this economy? It was at the time Barack was in office and we was cutting back on government spending, so contracts were getting slashed, thus losing jobs. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'll find another way. And I found Pat Flint. And I was like, look at this guy. He's not smarter than me. And look at all the money he's making online. Surely it must be easy. That it was the first lie I told to myself. Okay. So I'm starting to watch Pat Flynn and I started to learn on the online space. And I got introduced to internet marketing from Pat Flynn and the Jeff Walkers, but using Blogspot. If any, I'm dating myself
Oh
here.
my gosh. Hush up. Because Blogspot is old school. Like,
Listen, I
I
don't even know if
remember
it's around.
Blogspot. I don't
Yes.
think it is around anymore, but that is
Mm-mm.
hilarious.
Yes, so I use Blogspot and then of course found WordPress. And the biggest part is this. When I got the boot from Lockheed Martin, I told myself, I got it. I'm never going to work in the corporate world again. I'm going to do the entrepreneurial thing, and I started doing web development. And that's when I realized that you you can be so technical that you can be the smartest and brokest person in the room.
That's
And
true.
I didn't like that, right? I liked the smart part. I didn't like the broke part, you know? So I was like, okay, why am I broke? I'm too smart to be broke. What is going on? And after a very tumultuous time wrestling with myself, my own pride, honestly, it was a time where I opened up my refrigerator and I could see the back wall of the refrigerator. And
Mm,
I didn't grow up poor. Thankful to my parents that did the best that they could to give me a decent upbringing. So I don't know looking into the refrigerator and not seeing anything. So that terrified me. And I got 3 kids at the time,
yeah.
by the way. So I'm like, hold on, something's not right. I think the way that these people have been telling you to grow a business and everything, I think they're oversimplifying it. They're leaving steps out. And I did an assessment of self, very sobering assessment. And I realized I didn't know how to market. I was smart. I could do a lot of stuff with tech, but I didn't know how to market myself. So That's what led me to Lead Pages. I looked at Clay as one of the smart. Clay Collins was the founder of Lead Pages, a co-founder, and I looked at him as one of the smartest people I was following. He had Lead Pages software. He had the marketing show at the time where he would just do weekly videos on marketing. I'm like, man, this guy really knows what he's talking about. And so I approached him at a local startup. Got the job at Lead Pages. This is a super simplified version of everything. And at Lead Pages, this is where you and I connected, Tanya. I will run the webinars, but more so run some webinars. Tim would do all of the webinars, but that's where I've learned how to build systems. I didn't even realize that's what they were called. Still didn't know what automation was like that. But
Yeah.
I started to see Lead Pages raising millions and millions and was like, wait a minute, I think I did that. Right? I was like, I think that's my system. And it
Uh-huh.
clicked. Tanya, I have been so used to watching other people and aspiring to be them, I didn't even realize I had become them. All of these people were claiming, here's how to build systems, here's how to automate and make money. And I'm like, wow, one day,
Look, I had to
all
put the
while
gold
realizing,
nugget up on that one because
yeah.
that's deep, and that's interesting that you say that, Chris, because I think that
Hmm.
happens a lot more than we know. I think that happens with a lot of us that we're so busy looking at everybody around us, we don't realize our own genius.
Yep.
So when did you
Yep.
figure out your
That
genius?
You know what? I figured it out when we had a meeting at Lead Pages, and I think it was maybe the second round. The first round was 27 million. The second round was like 11 million. And every time we talked, they all referenced like this super spreadsheet that I created. And it was every metric that you could create that you should measure in a marketing funnel. And I was like, why does everybody always ask me about my numbers? Like, what about you guys' numbers? Right. And then it clicked. These are the numbers that are driving growth.
Yeah.
This is how you build a system that scales a company. And right when that light bulb went off, I said, I'm the one, not in a like a braggadocious and egotistical way. It clicked like, oh, it's my work. Cause I have been so used, Tanya, when you're in the corporate world, especially when I work for Lockheed Martin, I do a thing here. I don't see the impact. I
Nope.
hear about it in some land far, far away. A missile blew up, or hey, you're protecting lives, or some tank, is operating. I don't see it. I don't touch it. I was never close to the results, so I never expected to feel or see the results
Yes.
that close. So when they were that close, I'm like, oh, this is an entirely different thing. So the engineer in me says, okay, Chris, you did it once. Can you do it again? Right? Is this a fluke? Did you truly figure out a framework and process that's portable to more than one context? And I said, wow, me? That's a great challenge. So I looked at
Yeah.
Lead Pages portfolio at the time, and it was mainly internet marketing based. So I said, well, the best thing to do, let me take what I've learned and see if I can apply it to other types of businesses. And that's what led me to becoming the director of education at ActiveCampaign, because they had a much more diverse portfolio. And I wanted to teach my framework and test it on as many businesses as possible. And lo and behold, one part that I left out when I got fired from Lockheed Martin, I told myself I would never rely on one source of income. So that's where Automation Bridge started. It started as chrisldavis.com. And just as I found my voice in my offering, it then evolved into Automation Bridge. So I'm running Automation Bridge on the side the entire time. Just laying bricks, Tanya, here and
Yep.
there, make $100 over here,
Mm-hmm.
300 over here. Nice little pocket money on the side, you
Yep.
know. And then I started to get bigger and bigger, and I created a program and got my first $5,000 sale. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, this feels good, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is on the side, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
at I'm at work now at Active Campaign, and you get a nice little notification. I'm not talking about the hey $97, $4,997 notification.
Yeah.
That's a different type of secret happy dance you're doing in the meeting. feet just tapping. I'm like, man, I need to go to the bathroom or something, do a victory lap, you know. That is a principle that I often tell people is that it's all it's never too late to start a business, and it's always the right time to keep building the business. No matter what
Yes.
size it is, just lay a brick. Maybe a brick is writing an email, another one may be just designing a homepage. Whatever the case is, never stop moving. So when I got to Active Campaign, I had some momentum on my personal business side as well as lead pages, and it was wonderful. I got to test my framework and really bend it and poke holes at it. I was training internationally, and I've trained in pretty much every major city. And when that came to an end, and it was really unfortunate how that came to an end, because I'm of the mindset that never burn a bridge,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing. I try to operate at a level that there is no offense besides you truly harming me or my family.
Hmm.
But if this is just business stuff, there is nothing that I can't get over. I'm in control of myself. I'm a very emotionally grounded individual. Okay, you were wrong. We didn't figure this thing out together. Why burn the bridge though?
Yeah.
Right? Why burn the bridge? I try to keep the bridge going. Now, the truth of the matter is the only part of the bridge I have control of is my half.
Correct.
If they decide to burn their half, I have a decision to burn mine, which I never do. I always keep it extended cautiously, right?
Hmm.
Cautiously, right? So that was an unfortunate thing is that I felt like a bridge that we could have kept because we did so much work together,
Hmm.
me and Active Campaign, that it was such a hard cut, that it's just like, why waste all of that time, all of that momentum? Had a
Yeah.
podcast going and everything else. But when you have lemons, I don't like to just make lemonade. I like to make lemon pound cake
Wait,
out of
he
my
said
lemons.
lemon pound cake. You just went all the
and
way.
right. And the reason being because my wife makes an amazing lemon pound cake that nobody could eat just one slice of. So I said, okay, I'm just waiting for lemons because I'm about to get me some cake. It's just my mind, my mindset, right? So since they cut off the podcast and all of this stuff, I use that as fuel.
Yeah.
And that's where Automation Bridge really took off and started. I started my own podcast. Everything I was doing there, I was doing for myself.
Yeah.
And that leads us to today. So today I've got a program that teaches digital marketers how to build a business, providing the service of automation. I've got a certification that goes along with it. Podcast you've been on that I love doing. I get to meet new people and nerd out as well,
Yeah.
and I can't complain. I do some consulting for larger e-commerce enterprises, and more than anything, I get to see my daughter and my son off to school every morning.
That's a
Face
blessing.
usually they see when they come home. So
That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
yes.
Greetings, Yvette. People have been commenting. Kimberly G said, yeah, you have to know your self worth.
Hmm. Hmm.
John said, that's a huge disconnect for a lot of us not knowing the impact you have.
Yep.
Hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think, oh, and he also said, you can solve any problem if you put enough hours in. Absolutely love it.
Yes. Yes.
It's true. Yeah, we are. Wait, let me pop this comment up. I think we're seeing Tanya's head explode in real time. Actually, no, I geek out on that stuff. Didn't I give y'all my math overlay before?
Oh my
I
gosh.
told
I know
y'all.
I know those formulas.
I love that stuff. I just don't always share it because I remember being
Mhm.
picked on as a kid about being a nerd. And so
Mhm.
some usually I keep my nerddom, my geekiness to myself, but I know these things. I
Yes.
love it. I like code. I
Mhm.
love creating and designing websites, but I do that for myself now, not for other people.
Mhm.
Yeah. He said,
Yep.
always with the math overlay. I just had to make sure you knew, John.
Right.
Okay. So, Automation Bridge, in this moment, you talked about all the different things that you're actually involved with, which is a lot. And it's funny
Mhm.
because, like I said, when I put your name out there and said, hey, I'm going to be interviewing this special guest, I got different comments about the quality of work that you put in and who you are and how people
Yeah.
have, just so kudos to you for building something that is truly amazing, Chris, and something that you love and all the different things you went through. Like I always
Yeah.
tell my kids, we're preparing you for this moment.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
So I love
I've
that.
learned that as long as you do your best and put your all into it, there's never anything wasted, ever.
Yeah.
It goes without saying I'm a man of faith, so there's biblical background to that as well,
Yes.
but I definitely believe in the principle of sowing and doing my work not as unto anybody that is here that I can see, but unto him so that I know I can rest well saying, "Okay, I did my best today, and whatever comes, I deserve it. It's
Yeah.
mine. It already had my name on it. You're just now seeing my name on it, but it been had my name on it."
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And Kimberly G said that's smart. Absolutely, it is smart. I think I want to ask you some questions about video.
Mhm.
I want to talk about how you're using it right now. You mentioned your podcast. So, can you tell the people the name of your podcast and who are the type of guests right now that you actually talk to? And do you do a video and audio or just an audio podcast? Because I know there's a big conundrum out there. And I've seen some battles this week about
Mhm.
what is a podcast.
Yep, it's out there, right? It's here. So, the name of my podcast is All Systems Go Podcast, and I invite digital marketers, content creators, and founders, SaaS founders, to share strategies and software. Because I tinker around a lot, like you do, Tanya. And when I find something, I don't like to just say try this software. I like to know who's behind the software.
Yes.
Why did you build it? What are you thinking? How should this be used so that people can make a better informed decision with their tech? One of the
Mm-hmm.
guiding principles of my company is automate your business the right way and automate responsibly. So that's part of what I do. So the funny story with the podcast is I started podcasting 2016, and at this time, podcasts were literally you went to Apple Podcasts for or iTunes for a podcast. That was
Yep.
it. There was
Period.
nowhere else, and people did not really know what podcasts were.
No.
And you had to be special if you had your own podcast in
Mm-hmm.
iTunes. Wow, what did you do? So Active Campaign tasked me with the job to create the podcast. I didn't know anything about microphones, uh, uh, audio interfaces. What's that? you know, in fact, so your audience will love this. I ended up getting two XLR mics, and they were probably like singer microphones in the same room that had no canceling of noise, and I ran it through like a Zoom something interface, and the audio was so bad that I would take the SD card out, and it'll have two tracks. I would load it up in Audacity, I believe, and manually, when someone else was talking, I would delete the track, my track. Then when I'm talking, I would go delete their track. This was like 3 hours it would take me to publish a
Yes.
podcast episode at Active Campaign. I said, "Time out. There's gotta be a better way. I have to be doing this the most
That's
archaic way."
hilarious.
There was no software at the time. So anyways, what I learned to do is use Skype, call recorder. So I say, even though we're in the same building, you go in that office, I'm gonna go in this one.
I remember using Skype for podcasts. Yes. In interviews. Yes.
Yes. So we did it via Skype. So fast forward to today, I started out doing my podcast like that, like I did at Active Campaign, because that's the muscle that I built. But I have to tell you, Tanya, over the years and really in the last couple years, video podcasts in the form of video have just taken off. So I started as audio only. And just this year, I said, you know what? I can't afford to be behind. I
Yeah.
need to now have video to every podcast. And I didn't want it to be just regular Zoom side by side video. So now I'm maybe if level 10 is a advanced user, I'm probably level 4. with Ecamm Live. That's a software that I use with recording the
That's what we're
podcast
using right now for those who don't know. Yeah.
we're using now. So to
Yeah.
get this type of presentation, so I think that Tanya, actually, the first person that I knew personally that had a video presentation that I was like, "Ooh, that's nice," was you. I
What?
remember seeing yes, I remember this. I remember seeing you because this was at the time where you had just launched Stream Like a Boss. I can't remember what you were doing prior, but you had kind of like came out, "Hey, I'm teaching streaming." I said, "What's this streaming thing?" But your camera was like super clear. I was like, "This looks like TV." So that was the seed planted. So I was like, okay, it's possible to have like a real nice looking video because I didn't want to do it janky or anything like that. So now I've got a pretty decent setup. And yeah, I run it audio and video where just now YouTube has launched podcasts. So I
Yes.
have my podcast manager looking into that. How do we show up in
Yep.
YouTube? But thankfully, I'm in every major platform, and this year is when we started adding the video component to it.
It's interesting you say that because my entire weekend, this coming weekend, will be full with preparing for the YouTube podcast transition. It is a
Mm,
big deal. What I'm
yes,
hearing out in these internet streets, y'all, is that because it's still so new and not a lot of people have leveraged it yet, it's a great time to start getting into. And look, I know the battle of the traditionalists when it comes to podcasts are saying,
hmm,
hey, a podcast is only audio. The
yep,
problem with that is we have to think bigger. We have to start thinking about what you said, which is how do I expand my presence so that people
yes,
can learn from me and learn about me wherever they choose to learn. And some people are going to be audio
wherever.
people, and some people are going to be visual people, and some people are a little mixture of both. So, why would we not take advantage of this platform? YouTube is huge already. So, they're
Yep,
putting money
yep,
into this podcast space. Why on earth would we not take advantage and take that same voice that we're using on the microphone and turn that into an audio visual experience? Like,
yes,
yes,
yes.
Dee says she is a mixture of both. Yes.
Hmm,
Roy,
hmm,
I'm working to repurpose previous live streams as YouTube podcasts. That's what I'm working on right
yes,
now, too.
yep.
Debbie, yeah, everybody, look, set up your podcasting playlist, add your episodes. It's pretty straightforward. Yes, and actually, all I did
Mm,
is I just took one of my playlists, the main one that I love about engaging video content, and I clicked a
hmm.
button and now it's on my podcast tab. So
Oh
it's
wow.
when I tell you it's that simple. However, I did that, Chris, because I wanted to experiment. What I want to do, I also have, actual podcast intro and outro. So I'm going to be adding that and doing some
Yeah.
editing. But for now, I'm like,
Okay.
let me just get my presence known
Yes. Yes.
because we like to
So I
take the
would say
long way
this.
around.
Listen, listen. So John, I think it was John, just gave me a nugget to say add it to a playlist. I could easily tell my podcast manager to do that. Let
Yep.
me say, I believe that I'm not shy on camera. A lot of people, that's their hang up with doing video podcasts.
Yep.
I'm
That's
okay
right.
on camera. I can talk to this thing like it's a regular person. That doesn't bother me. So the production of the actual recording of the video isn't a hang up. What
Mm-mm.
has been the thing for me is streamlining the production process
Yes.
and identifying the tools to use throughout because I love automation. So I've got uh, let me share this with you. Everybody buckle up, okay?
Uh oh.
Put on your technical hat for me. I won't go too deep too quick,
Do I need
but
to put the
it may
math
be a little
overlay up?
it may be a little bumpy ride for people. you know,
Wait,
make sure
math.
your legs are in the cart.
I'm
And we're gonna
scared.
slowly go up the hill, and hopefully it's not too rough of a ride down. All right. So what we mentioned repurposing. So what I wanted to do is every podcast that I record, I wanted my podcast manager to create snippets. So every time she records, every time I record, well, first and foremost, when I'm done recording, oh, how high up do I want to go?
No, be careful.
Okay, let's keep going up a
Okay.
little bit. All right.
Look,
I hit a
everybody's saying buckling up though, Chris. Like they're ready.
okay. I hit a button. I'm not gonna tell you where this button exists. In some software somewhere in the world. I hit a button when I'm done recording. And what happens through the magic of integration like Zapier or something like that, a Google folder with the name of the podcast is created for video and audio. Okay, automatically. So when the video and audio files are ready, I just drag them and drop them into the appropriate folders. I
Hmm.
have a Google Drive extension, like the app installed on my computer. So when I put them in that folder, though it looks like a local folder on my computer, it's actually uploading to Google Drive, right? So at the same time, everybody, those folders are being created, and then there's a task being created in my project management software to tell somebody, "Hey, there's new episodes ready." Okay. So that's how it gets to my podcast manager. That's the bridge. That's the bridge of automation that goes from my magic button into my podcast manager. Now she goes through, listens to everything, creates the three snippets. Now, here's the problem. If you create the three snippets, I don't want to go and find those folders. Even
Nope.
if I bookmark them on my desktop, I want to be able to access them on my phone so I could look at them and be like, "Oh, that's a good one." Know what they are. Okay, so we're almost to the top and we're gonna come down. So what I did was, by way of some other magic out there, when she I I told her to name the episodes a certain string, a naming convention.
Yep.
And when she does that, there's a folder that she puts them in. Whenever there's a file in this folder, it triggers an automation that goes and takes it and uploads it to Airtable for me. So in Airtable, it just populates automatically all these snippets. So when I'm ready, Tanya, I just sit down, look at the snippet and watch it. And then I create a nice little short blurb. If she hasn't done it already from my short and my Instagram, I won't go through how I'm automating that. But I get a blurb. And now, last thing, everybody, we're on our way down. We're almost to the bottom. I hit another magic button somewhere, and that then sends the video file, the blurb, and the link to the video file and the blurb, and to my project management software, to someone else on my team to
Mm.
post it to YouTube. Okay. So for me, the process of one button after recording, move two files, and then
Hmm.
write a description, and I'm published. I'm just, content is going out there. So
That's crazy.
right
Look,
over everybody.
let me pull because people were like, buckle it up. Love, love, love doing both audio and video podcasts. Okay, Kimberly G is using Descript. Debbie said,
Yep,
I
yep.
need the magic button. I know that's right.
It's a
Chris
beautiful button. I
Chris
love the
can
button.
teach you the magic button. Let's see. Brilliant, Chris. For people who are doing video and audio podcasts, are you editing them differently or is it all just the same? Um, Let me get your answer. I'm going to share what I'm thinking that I'm going to do, but I haven't made a final decision on that. But do you have an answer for
Okay.
that question?
My podcast manager does all the editing, and for now, I'll tell you, it's easier on the audio because the bumper, like you had the video on the intro, I
Yep.
haven't got one of those videos yet. So on the video side, it's literally just the raw video file.
Yeah.
There's no intro or outro, but the audio, she does add an intro and an outro. Let me say this, everyone. Let me say this. Depending on your podcasting platform, your hosting, they're dropping dynamic content where you can create a intro and outro for all of your episodes and then swap them
Yep.
by clicking a button, and they swap them all for your episodes. But you have to prepare for that. For me to do it, since I hard code my intros and outros into every episode, that's a bigger level of effort for me on the audio side. But if I just had uploaded the content of the podcast, I would already be ready to add those dynamic bumpers for the
Yep.
intro and outros and be a lot more it helps me market better my
Hmm.
podcast and use it for lead generation and everything.
And I want to say, I'm going to bounce off of that a little bit from what you just said, so that for people who are really, really, really new to any type of media creation, one of the smartest things I've ever done, you just kind of referenced it, but I want to really emphasize this, is to have an intro and an outro created for whatever type of media I'd use. So if it's video,
Yeah.
I'm going to have an intro clip and an outro clip. I'm going to, and
Yeah.
it's always going to have a focus or a purpose, right? If I'm doing audio, or because I used to have an audio podcast called Snack Size Marketing, then I will hire
Mm,
someone who is professional, has a professional voiceover, and does a professional sounding introduction to what the podcast is about, and an outro
yeah.
that leads people to a call to action. So if that's something that you haven't thought about and you're just creating content in this moment, think about putting together your toolkit. I have a couple of different folders for my video toolkit, my audio toolkit, and it has those things that I will repetitively use in my media creation.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and nowadays you can do that in any format or size with the click of a button.
The magic button.
And Debbie said, thank you. Wait, Tanya, I love your thoughts on professional podcast and the toolkit. She also was like raving over your button. In fact, let me see. Samantha said everybody needs a
Oh
magic
yeah.
button.
Yeah, Samantha, that's one of my certified folks right there. I could tell by the badge, and of course I know Samantha. So
Ah, okay.
yes,
So
yes.
Samantha knows, she knows what's up.
Oh
Let me
yes,
see.
she's
No
created
matter
many
what you're
buttons.
creating content wise, you need to build yourself a content library.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So the engineer in me, everyone, I'm all about redundancy. If something lives in one place and one place only, I can't rest at night. Plus, I've been on the backsides of many businesses who have immediately gotten shut down on social media.
Yeah.
So if it's valuable content, I treat my social media to me begins in my own software. So this Airtable database is literally this is where I publish YouTube shorts. To me, I don't log into YouTube or anything like that. All my
Mm-hmm.
content exists here, and then when I click the magic button, then it makes its way out. So at any time YouTube makes the decision and says, "Hey, Chris, you violated something. Hey, Chris, you did this," all of my content is in my IP is on
That's
my
right.
server in my control, and I can easily replicate it or duplicate it in any way. I treat everything like that. I don't write an email in my CRM software. I don't build my website on my website. It all exists in documents and other files on my server that I own. So if something happens, if I need to migrate, if something goes down, I can easily be back up and running. I know that's the engineer in me, and some of you have never not written an email directly in the CRM. It's like, oh, that's what I do while I'm in MailChimp or ConvertKit. I just write the email right there. Yeah, right. Never, never. I've got an entire Airtable again database of every email that I've ever sent, so I can easily find it, repurpose it, replicate it, do whatever I need with it.
Yeah, John, you're right. Half the battle is organizing your existing content in a way that helps you find it again.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and that was something I wanted to go back to that you mentioned. You talked about
Mhm.
naming conventions.
Yes.
I know what that is. Can you, for those people who are kind of like, wait, what are they saying? What
Yeah.
is a naming convention and why is that relevant when it comes to organizing your content?
Yeah. They will save your life. Um, I was introduced to it, of course, as an engineer because you have to name your files in an appropriate way for the systems to acknowledge them. But think of naming conventions as a repeatable pattern that you use when you name every single file. So for me, my podcast is called All Systems Go, and I use three numbers for my episode number because I was planning ahead. I know I'm going to have at least 100, so it's ASG 001. That's the beginning of my naming convention, then a
Mm-hmm.
dash, and then the title of the episode. So that's the most basic form of a naming convention. Now that goes in my SOP. My entire team is trained on it. And if I need to search and find something, I know what naming convention to start use. Now,
That's
when
right.
you start to take that into like these platforms like a CRM software and everything like that, it just organizes it to a whole nother level
Mm-hmm.
because I I'm guilty of this, but you all know that on the fly automation building and email sending, you get inspired with an idea. Oh, let me send this out real quick.
Yep.
Don't give it a naming convention. You just name it something that makes sense today, right now. And people don't realize how short your technical memory is.
Yes.
There's stuff I named this morning that I have forgotten already.
Where is
But
it?
if it had right, but if it
Mm-hmm.
has a naming convention in a consistent way, let me say a consistent way of naming things, a consistent
Yes.
pattern that you're using, it's easier to find and easier to stay organized.
And that really struck me when you said it because it's something that I've taught in my academy. I've taught my members to do. So we had a whole training day where we focused on organizing your video content. And I think at first they were kind of like, huh? Why do we have to do that? Like, I know where
Yep.
everything is. It's in this folder over here. But it is so key. And I do the same thing. What you do with your podcast, I do with my live streams, my live videos. Every single one of them has a naming convention. And if one of the easiest ways for me initially before I started using Airtable more religiously, because I use Airtable too,
Yep.
is I would create Google folders. So I had a folder
Hmm.
that would be
Hmm.
named episode 116 and I did the three numbers too because I knew for growth
Yep.
purposes, I'm going
Yep.
to grow and there's going to be more. But
Yep.
episode 116 and in that folder now I add my live stream video content. So the video media itself, the audio, the script, so the transcript, the SRT or subtitle file. And then there's a
Hmm.
couple of other things that are in there so that when I get done with this video tonight, I can go and use the eCam downloads. They make it easy now. I can
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
those media files. And look, Chris, we have ISO in eCam. Have you used that yet? The isolated?
Um. Oh. I have not. I have not, Tanya. Not
Okay,
yet.
check this out. So
Okay.
because I told you I was going to geek out with you a little bit. So
Yes.
after I get done with this video, and you see how we have all the overlays and cool stuff, all of that gets stripped out of the ISO. So isolated videos and isolated media so that if we want to turn around and edit and
Oh.
repurpose that and turn it into a really cool reel, sweet. Because it doesn't
I
have all
know.
those banners and stuff. It's just isolated video.
Oh my gosh, I did
Yeah.
not and
And
it's
it's
just an
all
option.
there.
I've seen the option. I just didn't click it to enable it.
Dude,
Okay. All
so
right, that's great.
now, all of my videos now, even if it's just me solo, I do that so that I can easily go and create my isolated video, my reel or a TikTok or whatever it is I'm going
Yeah,
to be creating. It's
that
bomb.
makes so much sense. That
Hmm.
makes so much sense. Okay.
Yes.
Got my nugget for the day.
You know, we always swap nuggets anytime we're on
Yes.
together.
Yes.
Yes. I love it. Thank you. Okay, if anybody has questions, we're about to wrap. So please first of all, pop some love in here if you have really enjoyed and appreciated what Chris has shared because he was dropping some knowledge. So if you love what you heard, if you got any nuggets, nuggets of wisdom, please make sure. Oh, yeah, Roy did put this little note here. Hold on. First, there's some hearts. Those
Oh,
hearts are for
thank you,
you,
Debbie.
Chris.
I
And
appreciate it.
nuggets, Samantha said nuggets. because she's on the Chris team for sure.
Yeah.
Roy said, make sure you have disk space for the ISO files. That is true because they do take up
Mhm.
a lot of room. So I do go and clean because I am not a digital hoarder, but
Yeah.
go and
Yes.
clean up that space. But make sure you have the space in your computer. If you have an old computer, you're not going to be able to use those ISO files, y'all. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many comments. Wait, let me just pull up the comment screen so you can see this love, Chris. And then I need you to share with people how they can follow and get in touch. I know that a couple of people already mentioned in here that they are following you now on your podcast.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Great
For some water.
conversation. We'll enjoy listening to your podcast later. Yay. Radiance by Ratilia. Thank you. Samantha said this was awesome. Virginia said she loved the email story. Look, if Chris can go from not even knowing that email is is
Right.
global and be where he is today, you and I can do this too.
You can you can do it. You
We can
can do
do
it.
it.
There's hope.
There is hope for us all. There's hope for us all. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Samantha, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you for
Yeah.
introducing us to Chris. Amazing advice learning
Yes.
tonight. Yeah, everybody's loving the email story.
Yeah. It took me a long time to tell it publicly because I was ashamed for many years. But when I got the confidence to say, you know what, it doesn't define me. It's just a part of who I am and it shaped me. Chris, be honest with these people. Be authentic. It was real. I was in there and it was late at night, everybody. It was late at night. And this person was taking their sweet time because they had no clue. Clearly, he's not waiting for this one computer when there's 10, 15 other ones. So
Yes, he is.
if that person, it would be, you know, it would be crazy, Tanya, if that person remembered me and like sent me an email. It would be so trippy. It's like, hey, that was me. I always thought you were crazy. Good to hear that you're actually smart
I
and you're
know.
not. So,
That would be
yep.
if you could just show up and say, "Hey, if you're out there, we're doing a
Yeah.
call. This is a call to action. If you're out there and you were
Right.
the person that Chris was standing behind, impatiently waiting for you to move, please reach out. I can put you on camera and we can get you
Right.
connected with Chris.
Oh,
It'll be a
man.
reunion, an email reunion. I love it. So, Chris, let's share your website. I want people to know where to find you. Let me move that out of the way because that's not part of your website. So,
Yes. Yes, that
automationbridge.com.
is the site.
Sweet.
Automationbridge.com is my website. And homepage, you can essentially get to anything that you want. That automate my business part right there is a webinar that I've run that you can get access to. I recorded it. You can get on-demand access, or you can schedule if you're that type. You just need to get it on the calendar to attend. That's a quick blurb about myself and the website. And then below is blog posts and podcasts. So you can select with the little selector at the top, whichever one you want. Shout out to Samantha, who's on here. She's written quite a few of those blog posts, and then some resources in the footer. I also have a link for everybody who is in attendance specific for this group of people. I've got an email marketing course. It's super easy to go through, nothing heavy, everyone. I promise you.
They
It
don't have to
I
buckle
teach.
up.
They don't have to buckle up. Okay,
Okay.
this is more like a bike ride on a nice sunny day. Okay,
Okay.
but it teaches you the basics, helps you get started, and make sure that you're approaching automation, the email marketing the right way. And that is available at automationbridge.com /slab TV, stream like a boss TV, and you'll be able to
Sweet.
download that immediately. You can download that now, actually, and get access. When you do that, you'll also get access to my weekly to monthly newsletter, depending on how you engage with my content.
Well, check this out. I just put up the link
Ooh,
so
and
that everybody knows.
I think I got a magic button too.
Hey.
This is my first time,
Hey.
everybody. I didn't know if it was gonna,
Hey.
but it
We are
worked. All
using the
right,
power of Ecamm. Yes.
right. So, okay, check mark. One more step closer to becoming better with Ecamm. So
Look, it's a whole journey, y'all. It's a whole journey. So
Yeah, oh,
good.
man.
Thank you for sharing that link and letting us know where we can go to learn more about email and all the things automation. Because I do think everybody's going to be like, can I get a magic button too?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's your start. Start there, and let me say this, I know we're closing. If you're publishing video and you're thinking about really growing that audience, do not do it without having the foresight of knowing you need to get your video viewers to your email list. Okay.
hallelujah.
You need to get your video viewers to your email list. Make sure there's at least a link in every video description that you place, or a link in your bio that leads someone to a landing page or some web asset that you can collect their information and build a deeper relationship. All right.
We are finalizing the lessons, the recording lessons for live stream to leads this weekend.
Oh,
It's
yes.
totally
Beautiful.
focused on that. Check this out, Chris. I added this to my eCam too. Handy dandy, getting
Ooh.
people onto my, yeah,
Okay.
because we
I will
need
do that.
calls to action. We need a call to action. So, for
Yes.
those of you who have enjoyed tonight, and if you've been following our show for some time, you want to know more about me and about our academy, which we'll be opening up the doors for again in a few weeks. Go to getnoticedwithvideo.com/guide and get my free guide on how to get started with live streaming. So, see, I listen.
Beautiful. Oh, that was great. I'm gonna emulate that. Once I figure out how to make stuff animate and bounce.
I can tell you, I can teach you my secrets.
Yes, yes.
Thank you again, Chris. It's been so much fun. I know we're right at the top of the hour, and I hope I didn't keep you too long. From lemon pound cake, if your wife has made any. And if she hasn't, tell her to wait for me to
Right.
come hang out because I would love some. I love lemon.
Mhm.
Lemon, like,
Oh,
is one of my favorites.
okay. Yeah. My son eats them raw. He like that's a treat for him. He'll cut a lemon and just eat it.
Now,
Like,
that's
who
a
are
lot.
you? That's a whole lot.
That's a whole lot right there. But I do
Yes.
love lemon pound cake. So,
Mhm.
look, thank you for being here with us, seriously. And I want everybody to remember to go to automationbridge.com and type in //slab TV for Stream
Yep.
Like a Boss TV.
If you do that, I'll know where you came from, and I'll have a special greeting for you if you ever respond to any of the emails, and I'll say, "Hey, you're some of Tanya's folks. Welcome."
I love it, Chris. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. We got to wrap this thing up. We got to wrap it up. So, I'm going to remind you one last thing is my subscribe button. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss when we have a show. We're going to have amazing guests like Chris. We're going to be talking about content strategy. We're going to be talking about how to make your videos really pop, but most importantly, how to reach people in the way that you were purposed to reach them. Because each and every one of us has a voice. We have a message that we're supposed to be sharing. And I truly believe that video is an excellent vehicle to help you get that voice out into the world and to transform other people's lives and businesses. That's the reason why I love live streaming. And I love that I got a chance to hang out with you tonight. So we will see you on next week. Tuesday, we were calling it 10-minute tips, but it's starting to turn into just like playtime. So if you want to come just hang out and you have an ask, then come and ask me a question and I'll see if I can find you a resource. We'll talk tech, tips. We're just going to be talking on Tuesdays. On Thursday, we have yet another guest. So I'm really excited about getting a chance to see you next time. And hopefully, you can get some more nuggets to help you with video and your content strategy. Take care and have a wonderful and a very blessed night. And once again, thank you, Chris. We appreciate you being here.
Very welcome.